Just like any other crafter, I have tons of unfinished projects. Not tons, a couple of unfinished projects. So guys, in today's video I am going to be working on this baby that I cut out about 2 years ago. As you can see, I have already glued the board, the mark hole to the board. I am going to leave an illustration of the measurements on the screen, and I am going to complete this bag today. Take a screenshot now. This is the illustration for the main panel. So guys, I decided I wanted a plain and ankara mixture, so I am going to try to figure out how I want it placed. I already sewed them together and I forgot to cut out suede or plain material for the main panel. This one I cut out for the lining, so I had to use another suede for the lining. So now that I am happy, or that I figure out the placement, I am going to use my contact cement, aka top bond or shoemaker gum. I am going to apply it all around my board, my main panel interface, and I am going to glue to my fabric. I am going to try as much as possible to smoothen the fabric on my interface. So guys, there are techniques and there are ways to smoothen out your fabric on your interface, but one thing I do, which I didn't want to do because I was on camera and I ended up doing, is that I place my elbow on the other parts of the fabric or on the main panel, which is already glued, and I smoothen out the other parts with my right hand. So I place my left elbow on the panel that I am working on and I smoothen with the other hand, which is the right hand. I don't know if you guys understand, but you guys are going to see it at the end. Now that I am happy with the way it's glued on, I am going to cut the excess fabric and I am going to leave about half an inch, or do any measurements you feel would be enough for you to flip over and glue. So the next step is to apply gum, my contact cement, to the edge of the board and glue on the fabric. So I am applying gum on the edge of the board and also on the excess fabric. So I don't know if you've noticed, but I have my rag with me so that I clean my workspace as I go. This is not leather, this is suede, so gum will not easily come off on this. Okay, so I am cleaning as I go because definitely the gum will get on the workspace, it will get on the board. So I don't want that gum to stain my bag. So that is why I clean as I go. Neat finishing, guys, very important. Neat finishing. That is one part of the main panel done. So now let's move on to the second part, which is applying the lining to the top cover or the flap of the bag. So the cover only covers, or the lining only covers, the flap, the base, and down to like half an inch of the back of the bag. Okay, I don't know if you guys understand, I don't know if that makes sense, but where I'm applying glue now is the flap. Then that black part you see is the top base. Then a little bit where I'm applying gum now, that is half an inch of like the back of the back. So I'm using suede as the lining. Suede does not fray, so I am not going to cover or fold in the edges of the lining. But if you're using a material you know that will fray, it is advisable for you to fold in the edges of the lining. Now that I am satisfied with the way it is, I am going to take it over to my sewing machine and sew. So now I am done sewing. What I am going to do now is that I am going to trim the excess fabric from my lining. Okay, so remember, if you are using a fabric that frays, you have to fold in the edges. So when you fold in the edges, you don't need to trim anything. Okay, so I'm going to trim the edges in such a way that I can't see the lining fabric from the front. Okay, there are some bags that when you see them, when they are curved, or when you see the final result, you can see the lining, but we don't want that. Okay, from the front part of the bag, we don't want to be able to see the lining. Now that I am satisfied with the way it looks, I am going to put in my lock. This was not the lock I intended to use initially. Like I said, I cut out this bag 2 years ago. What I planned to do was use a magnetic lock. I even wrote everything down. I planned to use a bag fit, which I didn't use at the end of the day. This lock didn't really do it for me because I was using it through Marco and board, so it didn't go through, but it works. It works, guys. It's not like it's falling off. It's not falling off, but it didn't go through and it didn't screw in. I guess that was why I chose to use a magnetic lock at the end of the day, but I don't know, guys. I forgot. So I'm just trying to create hole for the bag lock. This is the first hole and I am going to make it bigger as I go, but feel free to do whatever you like. Do whichever lock you feel is good for the bag. It may be a magnetic lock, it may not be a magnetic lock. I plan to use bag fit, but at the end I didn't use. You can decide to use at the end of the day. So now that I am satisfied with the hole, I am going to fix in the bag lock. The first part of the bag lock is attached successfully. So now I am going to attach the second part of the bag lock, which is going to be on the front panel of the bag. So I am just going to fix it like that, the way it is supposed to be, and I am going to press it against the front part of the bag so that it creates a mark and I would know where to fix it in. The way you fix your bag lock at this point will determine the final result of your bag, how your bag would look. At this point, I'm usually very attentive to the way I fix in the lock because it's going to determine if everything is going to be centralized at the midpoint, if the front or the flap is going to be on one side or is going to be wonky or so. So you have to pay attention very well at this part. So guys, at this point we can see what our bag is going to be like at the end of the day. We are getting an idea of what our bag looks like. So I am just going to flatten the other side of the lock. You want to pat it gently. I'm hammering it down, but not with all my strength, just a little pat. So guys, this is the final part of the main panel. Okay, if you don't understand anything, feel free to ask me any questions. So now we are going to move on to the lining. So the lining is just the main panel without the flap. Okay, so I am using a chipboard for the lining, and like I said earlier, I forgot to cut out fabric for the lining, so I'm using a black suede, which was not what I planned to do from the onset. You can use interfacing for the lining. You can use different materials for lining, but for now I am using chipboard. If you are using a softer fabric, you know you're not supposed to apply gum on the fabric, only on the lining. Okay, I am applying gum because this is suede. Suede can still take the gum. So guys, this is my lining, and I am going to glue it the same way I glued the main panel. So I am going to glue everything, and I am going to cut the excess to about 1/2 inch and fold it over like I did with the main panel. For the slip pockets, it didn't come out the way I wanted, so I am not going to give you guys any measurement. Do whatever works for you. It works guys, it works, it is nice, but I feel like I could have done more. Okay, so this is me just making a slip pocket. So according to the measurement you have, this is how you are going to make yours. Now that I'm done with my slip pocket, I'm going to bring my lining panel, and I'm going to try as much as possible to centralize it. I am simply eyeballing it. I am not using a particular measurement. I am just going to sew everywhere except for the top in order to put it down. So guys, that's that for the lining. Let's move over to the sides, and for the side you're going to cut 2 times of this. I'm using Marco for the sides. It's not really a thick Marco. For the Marco, the same fabric is what I am using for the lining, so I'm just going to cut 1 straight fabric, apply my contact cement, glue it on one side. After that is glued, then I am going to apply my contact cement on everywhere, including the sides or the excess fabric, and I am going to glue everything together. After you're done gluing everything together on both sides of the sides, on both panel of the sides, you can decide to top stitch at the edge of the panel, but it's not compulsory. Okay, you don't have to. So guys, it's time for me to attach the rings. So the mistake I made was that because I'm using suede, I believe so much in suede, and I did not double the suede. Okay, so I feel like I was supposed to cut the width of the suede 4 times more than the hardware, just like we did for the adjustable strap. I am going to leave a link so that you guys can watch that video. So now I am just going to sew, but you can use a rivet if you like. I ended up using a rivet. So guys, that is it for the sides. I tore the guys, so many things went wrong, guys, so many things went wrong, but I am glad I was able to finish this bag. So I'm just trying to preview what I want, making sure that everything is the way it's supposed to be before applying glue, because when I apply glue and glue everything together, that is it. Ripping it off would be hard and painful. So what I am going to do now is that I am going to apply my contact cement on the edge of my lining panel and also on one side of the side. I got this side, and also on one part of the side, on the 3 parts of the side. I don't know if you guys understand. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? Please leave me a comment in the comment section and let me know if you understand what I'm saying, because even I don't understand what I'm saying, but I feel like the video is self-explanatory enough. Okay, so this is what I was trying to explain. You are going to apply glue on one side of the lining and also on one panel of the side. So you're going to apply glue on everywhere on the side except for the top parts. So everywhere on that excess that we have, because that is what we are going to use to glue the sides to the lining panel. Do you guys understand? For my bag makers who are new to this channel, my name is Juliet. I am a bag maker, but I am an all-round DIY enthusiast. I DIY almost anything and everything, and currently I'm on a journey of DIYing everything I own, and for now I am DIYing my closet. That is why I've been posting videos of clothes, because I have been making my own clothes. And now guys, I am going to be posting bags too. So not just clothes anymore, clothes and bag and any other thing I DIY. So if you're a bag maker, you want to subscribe to this channel. If you're a beginner, intermediate, or a pro, feel free to subscribe to this channel. So guys, now we are going to glue the side to the main body. Did I say main body? To the lining panel. And at this point I am pulling my side so that it is smoothly attached to the lining panel. We want to make sure that when we see or when we look at the lining or our bag from inside, we are not seeing any light. There is no space for light or air or anything. So now I am going to fold in the midpoint of my lining, which I did not do from the onset. I intentionally did not do that. Okay, so now I am going to take my lining panel and my main body. I am going to apply my contact cement all around and I am going to glue. But first off, the way I apply my gum, I start by applying my gum on the edges first. Okay, normally we are supposed to wait for our gum to like dry out and all of that. So I am going to apply the gum on the edges first so that the edges can start drying out before I now apply gum everywhere else. Okay, but what you want to do first is put it together like I did previously. Preview what you want to achieve. Make sure you know what you are doing before you start applying gum or anything, because once you apply gum, it's usually difficult to rip out. Okay, So let's work on the handles English. So I am going to sew right side stitching, and I'm going to turn to the right side. My initial plan was to use rope in between, not just the fabric, but when I was turning the suede to the right side, it stretched. So that was why I had to settle for braiding only the fabrics without applying rope. Oh guys, so I'm braiding, and I have, how many pieces did I count? I have about 8 pieces, and I am going to braid them in such a way that they look good. So if you're doing this, if this is the handle style that you choose, just preview everything, make sure you have something you like, or do it to the point where you have something you like. Don't just do it, okay? Practice first, make sure this is what you want to achieve, then do it to the main panel, okay? So I'm just braiding to the point where I feel it's okay. The length of your handle could be 12 inches, that is okay. So I have fixed in one part of the handle, and I'm going to show you guys how I fixed in the second one. Not like I've done this before, I have any method in order to fix it in, but I just fixed one part to make sure it is what I want, make sure it is holding well, and use that same strategy or that same way to fix in the other parts. So I hope you guys can see, because I don't think I can explain how I fixed it. So I am just raising everything up until I have one long strap or one long strand. Initially I used 2, but I removed it at the end, and I used one long strap in order to reduce the bulk. So that is it, guys. I am going to tighten it to make sure it is tight, and I am going to cut the excess strands that I have hanging. That is it. I am going to press in the side so that I can close in the flap, okay? I also made an adjustable strap. I am going to leave a link or post it at the end card of this video. But let me know what you think about this bag in the comment section. Was it a hit or a miss? So what I plan to do is finish all my unfinished projects, and I have so many bags in that list. I am going to finish all my unfinished projects hopefully before the end of the year. And this is it, guys. Some things I remember to do, some things I didn't remember to do. It's definitely different from the initial plan. So ankara frays, suede does not fray. That is why I am burning the edges so that it doesn't fray. But let me know, guys, what do you think about this bag? I like it. Personally, I like it, and I feel like it's better than the initial plans. Okay guys, final reveal in 3, 2, 1. If you're a bag maker, do not hesitate to subscribe to this channel, and also like this video if you learned a thing or two. I'm going to leave the video of the adjustable strap in the end card, and let me know what you think about this bag in the comment section, guys. See you in my next video.